Hey, my name is Lee Bratcher. I am the president of the Texas Blockchain Council. I'm here with Clayton Lowery, senior business consultant at Armanino in the blockchain practice. I wanted to chat with him a little bit about his DeFi journey, his journey in crypto, how he fell down the rabbit hole, because I've talked to him before about this and it blows my mind. So I want to make sure that he's able to share that with you guys. Clayton, when did you first get orange pilled, as they say, or when did you first fall down the rabbit hole? What year was that, and in what kind of like medium was it? Was it Bitcoin? Was it Ether? What was that?
Yeah, it was 2017, in the middle of the run, the crazy one from last time. Had heard about Bitcoin and looked into it back in the Silk Road days, but I don't think the world was in the position that for the orange pill, basically, I saw it more in 2017. And yeah, I remember I was like, this thing keeps not like coming back. It like they say, everyone says it's dead. There's that website that counts how many times it's died. And so I was like, all right, for a week, every night I get home from work, this is what I'm going to focus on.
Yeah.
And by about night 3 or 4, I was like done sleeping for the next week. It clicked, and like I saw like a new world, and I couldn't believe it. And I do credit Ethereum to an extent also for, it wasn't around when I first seen it, and the smart contract and the ability to, like, at that time nothing was live or real, right. But the thought and even just the white paper stuff about financial applications and everything you can build with a decentralized infrastructure was fascinating to me.
So fast forward a couple years, DeFi, late 2019 it starts your journey in DeFi. Did I guess that right? What was your first, like, was it like Compound, or I guess Aave wasn't around back then?
Aave launched in early 2020.
Early 2020. So back 2019, what were you using to yield farm and use DeFi?
Yeah, Uniswap had come out before then, and the first time DEXs were decentralized exchanges had been theorized back in when I had first discovered, but using one and the simplicity of Uniswap and like just the interface and using an exchange where you're in custody of your asset the entire time was like blew my mind. The first time I did a trade and just how simple and easy. Back then, Ethereum's gas fees were
manageable,
very cheap, and just doing that for the first time was such a light bulb moment. And I was like, this is kind of what I was saying a second ago. This is it in action. This is like the applications. Like, we can rebuild the whole financial system on using these smart contracts. And Aave was a little bit later, but I had followed ETH Lend at the time back in 2017, and when they launched in 2020, and that was the first time it was January, February, where I borrowed, like I put some collateral up and borrowed. And after dealing with banks for so long, like the fact that I just went onto an application, connected my browser extension, MetaMask, and borrowed dollars, and it didn't matter how much, just as long as I was within the algorithm, or the right collateral, within seconds. And I had it in my wallet. I remember the second I did that, I just sat there, and it was almost like I discovered crypto again for the first time. Even though I'd heard about all this stuff, it was like doing that for the first time was crazy. And then 2020 is when Compound started the yield farming, and then everything went crazy after that.
So walk the audience through yield farming, right? I always try to, like, I understand it conceptually, but when I try to explain it to people, I'm falling all over my explanation. So I think you've been in it much more deeply than I have. Explain to the audience what yield farming is.
Yeah, another good name for it is liquidity mining. And so Compound, there's some arguments that they may not technically be the first. Synthetics back in 2019 was another one that was really great back then. But Compound really kicked this craze off in June of 2020, where they didn't have a token at that time, and they were like, we're going to release our governance token, and to incentivize us users to come use our platform and provide liquidity and borrow and lend through our platform, we're going to issue our governance token by block on how much liquidity you have in here. And that's what really kicked off the 2020 run, and so it's expanded in all kinds of more complex things. But the simple part is you as a user of these protocols are rewarded by the protocol with their governance token for the decentralized autonomous organization, the DAO, and you can come on there and you're rewarded for using it, which is a unique thing to Web3. I mean, Facebook kind of in a lot of Web2 leeches off of you, and a lot of these Web3 applications are like, we're going to reward
incentives
our
are aligned.
Mm-hmm.
So are they rewarding you in the compound governance token, which if I've got a little bit of compound, it's like CETH is like CETH is the ticker.
That's the CETH is the IOU of, like, if you deposit ETH comp is the ticker of
ETH comp. Yeah.
Like,
so much work still to be done on all this, and like educating regulators and elected officials about this stuff. I mean, because we first got to explain to them. I mean, we got to go way, way back.
I know. And the NFT thing is a whole nother, like, valuation on NFTs. That's a brand new kind of a thing. And how do you do that, and especially on funds and stuff?
There's some parallels to the physical world, but not really. Like, you know what I mean? Like the art world, or like valuing things that are, that's tough. That's tough. We got a long way to go.
Yes.
We're just trying. We're going to be doing this, 10 years from now. We're going to come back and have this. Hopefully by then, we'll have some explanation on the tax and the regulatory front, but there'll be new frontiers to talk about then. Because what this technology does is it really democratizes finance. We're changing the way value is transferred. We're moving from, we've had the internet for decades. We've had digitalization has been upon us for decades. But the value transfer mechanism has caught up to information transfer mechanisms.
Yeah, it's like it's full circle. It's the dream of the original dream of the internet kind of coming back to complete that. Like, because you can't have openness without the money. Yeah.
And I would argue this is the first, world-changing innovation in value transfer since double entry accounting 500 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been incredible advances over that last 500 years, obviously. Like, you think about like gold, you think about double entry accounting, you think about like the Bretton Woods system, which is obviously, a massive change in the way that the financial system worked. And then digital ledgers, Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people credit double entry accounting to like what the Renaissance business boom that came out of that, and now we've got triple entry with blockchain now stamping that, and hopefully it sets off another great wave of innovation over the next 100 years. I think it will.
I can't think of a better place to end the conversation than that thought right there. Clayton, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Lee.
Yeah.